What does figuring out what you want have to do with death? Stay tuned. Know what you want. But what if I don't know what I want? If you haven't already, please click subscribe to this YouTube channel so you can get these videos on a regular basis. This is something that I've been told over and over. You need to know what you want. You need to figure it out. You need to be clear about what you want. If you don't know what you want, how can you get there? Or don't expect to get there? You've probably heard some sort of variation of this. What I did for a big part of my life was try to create what I wanted based on what sounded good and based on this idea that I needed to figure out what I wanted. I always needed to have a clear answer to what I wanted. I felt like if somebody was going to ask me that, I needed to be able to, on demand, spit out the answer and be very clear about it. What I had done was really get lost in my own head and my fantasies about what sounded good, what sounded glamorous. And honestly, it's okay if you go after or you want something that's glamorous, even if it's fame or if it's money. There's nothing wrong with wanting those things. What I didn't do was, for a long time, I didn't take action on any of these things. I wanted to be a writer, but I wrote only sporadically. I wanted to be a filmmaker, but I didn't make films for a long time, and even when I was saying that I wanted to be a filmmaker. What I did do, though, eventually was I did pull the trigger on these things. I started doing these things, and that's what is the key to this. If you don't know what you want to do, you need to take something, anything, whatever attracts you, and go for it. Start taking action on that. It's probably not exactly what you want to do, but you're not going to get clear about what you want to do until you start taking action on these things and start realizing what it is that you like and what it is that you don't like. This is not going to be figured out in your head. You can study all you want, and that's what a lot of people do. They'll sit and think, or they'll sit and read, or they'll look it up online, and they want to gather all the information they possibly can to know that this is, without a doubt, the thing in their life, their purpose, their everything, and it's all going to work out. And then oftentimes they start taking some action, they realize it's not quite what they want to do, they feel discouraged, and then they quit and they don't go any further with it. The thing is to keep going. The thing is to start realizing as you're taking actions, as you're trying these things out, as you're exploring, you're also discovering more and more what it is that you want. And hopefully you do this for the rest of your life. I would hate to think that I would ever come to a place where I would know it for sure, this is exactly for the rest of my life what I want to do. Let me put it another way. If you're too clear about what you want to do, then you're not dreaming enough. You need to keep pushing yourself beyond your comfort zone and pushing yourself to dream more anytime you feel overly certain about what it is you want to do. Now, what does this have to do with death? Well, let me put it this way. If you're having trouble being motivated to do this, to take action on this, which I've noticed a lot of people are, think about this. You're probably not going to die tomorrow. You're probably not going to die in 6 months. You're probably not going to die in the next year. The truth about death is it's going to happen someday, and you don't know when it is. And that uncertainty, what it does to a lot of us is we just sort of put death out of our mind, and we think to ourselves, it's someday, it will happen someday, and we kind of put it on the shelf. Or what you can do is you can use this as the greatest motivator, and you can know that because there is that uncertainty of when death will come, that should drive you. That should make you think, well, I'd rather die on my feet, searching and discovering and exploring my desires and living my dreams, than dying sitting on my couch or dying sitting in a cubicle working a job that I don't enjoy. Which would you rather do? Because you don't know when it's going to happen. Most of us don't know. Maybe some of us do. So let that uncertainty drive you instead of making you less motivated and lethargic and thinking, someday. Think about that someday might be sooner than you think. And a lot of people say, well, live every day like it's your last. That doesn't work for me, because I don't really believe it. And if you were living today as if it were your last, well, let me put it this way. If I were living today as if it were my last, I don't think I'd be pursuing my dreams so much, because I would want to be tying up loose ends and spending time with family. I don't think I would want to be traveling the world. Well, how can you travel the world in one day anyway? It's just kind of absurd, so I don't like that saying, and so I wouldn't even try to take that on. Just accept the fact of the uncertainty of death. That alone should drive you. You don't need to try to live like every day is your last. You don't need to live like you're going to die in 6 months or even a year. Just live like you don't know when you're going to die, which is really the truth for most of us. So discovering what you want is not going to happen in your head. It's going to happen in experience. And if you think about it, say you were planning a trip to some continent that you had never been to before, and you researched it, and you realized there were some countries that you found really interesting and you wanted to visit, and you assumed that these were the countries that you were going to enjoy. I guarantee you, if you spend actual time traveling on that continent, what will happen is you will find some of the countries you thought were going to be the countries that you really enjoyed turned out to be maybe your least favorite. And then you'll discover that there were some countries that you never even heard of that turned out to be some of your favorites. There's no way you could have possibly known this from reading a book, and you wouldn't have gotten the joy and the experience and the wisdom of having traveled, and all the stuff that you learn by traveling. You couldn't have possibly known these things until you got your ass on a plane and got out there. It's the same thing with discovering what it is that you want. How are you going to figure that out in your head or in a book without actually getting out there and exploring and discovering what it is, who you are, and learning who you are in experiences and relationships to places and people? It's the same thing like trying to get healthy by reading a book on diet and exercise. Until you actually start exercising, the book is no good. The knowledge is no good. It can sit there in your head. It's not going to make you any healthier. It's not going to make you lose weight. It's not going to make your endurance go up. It's not going to make your heart stronger. You have to get out there and do something. So knowledge is not power until it's connected with action. So you want to be precise about a goal, because a goal is like a target. You need to be able to see the target, or you at least need precise indicators that let you know where the target is in order for you to hit it. You don't need to be so precise about your dreams, though. So a goal being like a target, yes, you need to be very clear and be able to see that. But your dreams are not about accomplishing. Your dreams are not about hitting the dream. You live your dreams. So your dreams need to be a bit vague. And if you're too precise about a dream, which then kind of becomes like a goal, and it's something you want to fulfill rather than hit like a target. Well, I'll tell you, in my own experience, what has happened is I've actually started living my dreams and didn't even realize it, because in my mind I had such a fixed and detailed idea of what that was going to be like that I totally missed out on when it actually happened. And it took me a while to figure that out. In some cases I lost it because I didn't appreciate it and I wasn't grateful for it because it didn't fit that fixed idea of what I thought my dream should look like. So really it's an incredible place to find yourself in the uncertainty of not knowing what you want. You then get to go and discover it and explore it. And really, how fun is that? I mean, that is really what life is all about. So if you find yourself there and you don't really know what you want in life or what you want to do in a career, any of those things, great. Embrace that and then take some action. Get out there and do something, anything. And even if it's small, even if you want something that seems rather trivial or small, go for it anyway. See where that leads you. See where it takes you. Let your desires lead the way. Check out our website, nlp-gym.com. Follow us on Facebook for real-time updates on free practice sessions and workshops that we have coming up. And as I mentioned, if you haven't already, please subscribe to this YouTube channel. And speaking of taking action, we have a workshop coming up with Mark Andreas. It's called Core Transformation. And if you find that you have obstacles in your life that are holding you back from doing the things that you want to do, this is the workshop for you. This will show you ways to take those exact obstacles, that resistance, and drive through that and use that as the gateway and the doorway to getting what you want in life and living those dreams that you want to live. So if you like this video, please click like right down here below and leave me a comment. I'd love to hear from you. Take care.